What's up, everybody? J-Heat Sports Media coming at y'all again with that fire as always, spitting the hot topics and getting the sports conversation started. Y'all know what I'm talking about: football, basketball, and boxing. Let's get to it. So the subject is basketball. The Kentucky Wildcats, they suffered a big-time loss last night in the NCAA tournament. It was the loss heard around the country. Number 14, Oakland, took it to the Kentucky Wildcats and John Calipari and his boys. I'm sure it had a lot of people shocked, busted a lot of brackets for sure. That being said, kudos to Oakland for getting it done. It is March Madness. This is why they call it March Madness. Anything can happen. It's a one-and-done situation. The best team does not always win and typically doesn't win in the NCAA tournament because it's not about the best team. They're not playing a series. It's about who gets hot. Also, it's about who has the best run stretch through that tournament. Game after game, who can stay poised, solid, make the least amount of mistakes, make the best decisions, has good IQ moments, and they're on their game, making their shots. A unit, playing together. And at some point in time throughout the tournament, once, twice, maybe three times, maybe even every game you're in, the coach is going to have to draw up some plays or get his guys under control to get them through a few moments within the game to win the game. That being said, you know, fans are heartbroken, some pissed off. The players, same thing for them, coaching staff, and the school themselves, they're left with decisions to make. What do you do next? How do we improve? Because this is, after all, the University of Kentucky. They got expectations, they say out there. Well, I want to talk about those expectations. First and foremost, they ran into a buzzsaw in Oakland that had everything clicking. And as that game keeps going on and you're battling and sticking in the game with a team like Kentucky, even though you're the underdog, confidence starts to raise. And for the Kentucky Wildcats, you start maybe to doubt yourself a little bit. This happens in any situation like this. And they ran into Billy Hoyle, also known as Jack Goki, if I'm saying his name right. Hopefully I am. Billy Hoyle, they probably looked at him and thought, he ain't gonna give us no buckets. He looks like a chump, a geek. I'm only saying that because that's a reference to one of my favorite basketball movies, White Men Can't Jump. But Jack was doing his thing. 10 of 20 from the three-point line. He had 10 of their 15 threes, and if you get 15 threes hit on you in a game, chances are it's going to be difficult to win that game. The fact that he was able to shoot 20 times from three, you can put a little bit on the defense. Can they run him off the line or something? And also the influence of Steph Curry on the game of basketball. The fact that players are taking that many shots from three and coaches are allowing it just goes to show you how the game has changed. But kudos to Jack for hitting 50% of them. Nuts. And these guys are Division I players. Coach Calipari made the excuse of, well, times are changing and Oakland's team is average guys' age is 24 to 25 and his guys are 19. They just lost the older guys. I'm here to tell you, first of all, the average age of both those teams, it's not 19 for Kentucky and 24 to 25 for Calipari. He was exaggerating because his heart was broke. He was upset. And that being said, 19-year-olds can take it to 24-year-olds. This ain't a 24-year-old Jack he's been in college for 6 years, right, due to the pandemic. But he hasn't literally all of those years had the opportunity to perform, but he's been conditioning from D2 to now D1. Yes, that's true. But this isn't a seasoned 24-year-old in the league. He's still in college playing against college competition. That being said, it's X's and O's. Getting through this tournament takes a certain level of cohesiveness. In order to win these things, you have to be playing as a unit. You have to be locked in chemistry-wise. It's about the team that makes the least amount of mistakes, that can catch fire, and that has some good coaching moments to get players out of bad situations. All of that factors in, and the team that's on the best run wins. It's not always the best team because they're not playing a series. Quite often, the best team doesn't win in college basketball, but the right team wins because they got the job done and did what was necessary. Barring injuries, of course. You know, you can't get around those. That being said, Kentucky got decisions to make, and they probably trying to figure out what they should do. It depends on what your expectations are for the Kentucky program. If it's about consistently being in the tournament, having a chance to get to a Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four, maybe even a championship, year after year after year, bringing in the top recruits, then you good to go. You're doing your thing. I'm from the D.C. area. Georgetown would love to be able to say they go to the tournament year after year after year and got a chance every year to, what, can we make the Final Four? Can we make a championship? That is not the case. Every school don't get that. But if your goal is we need to win multiple titles year after year, then maybe you need to fire the coach. But I'm here to tell you, firing John Calipari, that's a risky role. Who you going to replace him with? Yeah, he hasn't won a national title since 2012, 12 years ago. And he's been to four Final Fours, though. And let's not forget, Tom Izzo ain't won a national title since 2020. And you might say, well, Izzo doesn't get as good recruits as John Calipari. Well, that comes with John Calipari. He's one of the top 5 recruiters of his generation. That's part of the gift of having him. He was recruiting guys before he got to Kentucky, and with the Kentucky name and his ability to recruit, it's been nuts at Kentucky. But all of that factors in. Calipari's a good coach. He's a great coach, Hall of Fame level coach. Now, I don't think he's as good as Jim Boeheim, Jim Calhoun, Roy Williams, Dean Smith, to name a few, Bobby Knight. Even in the school's history, he's not as good as Rick Pitino to me. These are all Hall of Famers, though. He's definitely not as good as the guy that set this standard that Kentucky continues to see themselves as a part of, and that's Adolph Rupp. He won 4 of them things. That's okay, though. Calipari is still legit. I wouldn't fire him, but maybe he does need to think about some changes in his recruiting, not just getting the young guys, but working the portal a little bit better to get some older players from time to time, more experienced players. Or how about this? If those players really care and it really hurt them to lose, you can stay. NIL deals are here now. You can keep staying with your team, maybe do at least 2 or 3 years and try to win you a title. Unless you really, really just can't turn down the next level because you're a top pick. I get it, but you can stay. So there's a lot of options. Calipari is not, it can get worse. Trust me, Kentucky fans. But did it suck for them to lose? I know it hurt, for sure. Tough loss. All right, that's all the time I got. Y'all know what it is, and you know who you looking for. J-Heat Sports Media. Remember to like, subscribe, or get at me in the comments. Let's go back and forth. Let's talk about it. Find me on YouTube, Instagram, X, and TikTok.